The debate going through Formula One right now is simple but tough. Should McLaren stop treating both drivers equally and back one driver to stop Max Verstappen from stealing the championship? With only 5 races left and Verstappen getting closer fast, the pressure on McLaren to make a decision is getting worse. Team boss Andrea Stella says McLaren is still a long way from choosing one driver over the other. Speaking after the United States Grand Prix, he made it clear that the team wants to keep things equal between Piastri and Lando Norris, as long as both have real chances of winning the championship. However, many experts and fans believe that this approach is going to cost McLaren both drivers the title. The Verstappen threat has become very real over the past few races. Just a month ago, the Dutchman was more than 70 points behind in the championship and looked out of the fight. Now he sits just 40 points behind Piastri, with 5 races and 141 points still available. That change has been amazing and scary for McLaren. Verstappen has won 3 of the last 4 races, including both the sprint and main race at the US Grand Prix, where he scored a perfect 33 points. Red Bull has found big improvements with their car, and Verstappen is driving at his very best. The gap is closing with every race weekend, and his 5th World Championship in a row is now a real possibility. Even though McLaren has had the best car for most of the season, McLaren's current approach is built on ideas they've stuck to all season. Stella explained that the team looks at their approach all the time, but they want to stay fair and equal. "We want to remain fair and we want to apply equality to both drivers," he said. The goal is to make sure the world champion drives a McLaren, but the team wants both Piastri and Norris to be able to chase their championship dreams as long as it makes sense. The problem with this approach is getting more and more obvious. Every time Piastri and Norris race against each other, they take points away from each other and give an advantage to Verstappen. The sprint race crash in Austin was a perfect example, with both McLaren drivers crashing out while Verstappen went on to win. These are the moments that could decide the championship, and right now they're all helping the Red Bull driver. The comparison to 2007 keeps coming up when people talk about McLaren's situation. That year, McLaren had Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton fighting each other for the title. Both drivers were really fast, both had real championship chances, and McLaren refused to help one over the other. The result was that both drivers lost the championship to Ferrari's Kimi Raikkonen by a single point. McLaren won the most races that season, but ended up with nothing in the Drivers' Championship. Many people are worried that history is about to repeat itself. McLaren has the fastest car and 2 great drivers, but their refusal to make a tough decision could let Verstappen sneak through and take the title. The similarities to 2007 are uncomfortable, and McLaren surely doesn't want to be remembered for making the same mistake twice. If McLaren does decide to back one driver, the question becomes which one? The obvious choice would be Oscar Piastri, who currently leads the championship and sits 40 points ahead of Verstappen. He has the bigger gap and is in the best position on paper. As the championship leader, he probably deserves the team's full support. However, the problem is that Piastri is the one struggling right now. His 5th place finish in Austin continued a worrying run of results that has seen him fail to reach the podium in the last 3 races. He admitted after the race that he doesn't have any great ideas about how to fix his performance problems. The driver, who should be the obvious choice, is the one showing signs of struggling under the championship pressure. Lando Norris, on the other hand, is driving with confidence and doing well. He finished 2nd in Austin while Piastri could only manage 5th. Norris is showing better speed and mental strength at the moment, and many believe he's the driver more able to beat Verstappen in a straight fight. The problem is that Norris sits 14 points behind Piastri and 26 points behind Verstappen, making him the less obvious choice based on the numbers. This creates an almost impossible problem for McLaren. The driver in the best championship position is struggling with form and confidence. The driver in better form is further back in the points. There's no clear right answer, and any decision McLaren makes could easily turn out to be wrong. Both drivers have made their positions clear when asked about team orders. Piastri was asked directly whether McLaren should back one driver and said he wasn't sure. "I don't know. I don't think so," he said, showing he's not ready to accept a supporting role. Neither driver wants to give up their championship dream, and both believe they still have real chances of winning. The timing makes this even harder. The 2026 rules will bring massive changes to Formula One, and there's no promise that McLaren will have a championship-winning car next year. This season might be the best and possibly only chance either Piastri or Norris has of becoming world champion. Why would either driver willingly give up that chance now, especially when they're so close? The risk of McLaren doing nothing is getting clearer with each race if they continue to let both drivers race freely. Verstappen could keep winning while Piastri and Norris take points off each other. The worst thing that could happen would be both McLaren drivers losing the championship to Verstappen, even though they have the faster car. That would be remembered as one of the biggest mistakes in Formula One history. However, the risk of making a decision is also big. McLaren could choose to back Piastri and watch him continue to struggle while Norris gets even better. They could back Norris and see Piastri find his speed again and feel betrayed. Either choice could create serious problems within the team and damage the relationship between the drivers and the team. Expert opinions on what McLaren should do are split. Many believe the team must act now before it's too late. They say that McLaren can't keep playing it safe and hoping things work out on their own. The decision needs to be made in the next race or two, or it will be too late to matter. Others point out that with both drivers so close in points and performance, making a choice is almost impossible and could go badly wrong. There's also the question of whether McLaren really cares enough about the Drivers' Championship to change their approach. The team has already won the Constructors' Championship, which brings the prize money and business benefits. The Drivers' Championship is about sporting glory and respect, but it doesn't have the same money attached to it. McLaren might truly believe that keeping their values is more important than winning one Drivers' Championship. Time is running out for McLaren to make a decision. There are only 5 races left, including 2 more sprint weekends. Every race that goes by without a clear plan makes any decision less powerful. If they wait until there are only 2 races left, it might already be too late to make a difference. Mexico this weekend could be the last real chance to put a clear plan in place. Andrea Stella's comments show McLaren isn't ready to make that call yet. His statement that they're a long way from choosing one driver suggests they're hoping the situation fixes itself naturally. The reality is that McLaren finds itself in a position that many teams would want, but few would actually enjoy. They have 2 drivers who could win the World Championship and a car fast enough to make it happen.